take a breath with me before we begin. Welcome back to another episode.
Yeah, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Medicine
From Our Hands.
with your co-host, Dr. Charlie here. I am an elemental healer, bringing ancient medicine back to a modern day. And we have other host.
A flower blossom, and I am a full spectrum doula, nutritionist, and lover of this life. We're here to share our deepest, truest medicines with you all. So thanks for joining us for another episode.
Yeah, so welcome back. We are excited to be welcoming you all to a new Chinese Lunar New Year.
Oh, yeah.
We are now in the fire horse season, so welcome to a new year. Yeah. So we had our festivities this week, Wednesday, and we'll probably in any kind of Chinatown / Asian town, you're probably going to get the festivities up till the weekend, most likely up to 2 weeks usually.
Cool.
So do go out there and get some snacks and some nice bonbons from the Asian community, because we got plenty of bread envelopes as well to welcome the new energy of this year, which we're definitely going to delve into this year and this season, just because I think the fire horse sounds cool and sounds fun, but most people don't realize how intense it's going to be. So we want to really kind of prep ourselves for it, because we're definitely going to go deep into what we're going to be sharing this year, just because now that it's Epstein files and conspiracies have now opened the door, we're going to go straight into it, deeper into it, because that is what is our medicine, right? We are taking the medicine from their hands and putting it back into our hands. And that is why we are going to be really speaking about controversies and conspiracies, so that we can bring us back to natural medicine flow.
Don't we need it all?
Yes. So let us start with just, welcoming everybody to the new age of the fire horse. And so we want to explain how last year was the wood snake. Wood is considered more, it is a yang energy, but last year was considered more of a yin. It took more of a healing yourself. Wood is the internal element alchemy that is actually rising and spreading inside of us, right? And so this last year of the wooden snake, we've had to really shed the things that no longer work for us, but really we had to look deeper into what we were shedding. We weren't just shedding just for the heck of it, right? And I think a lot of people may have experienced the shedding and the performative shedding, which I think the spiritual circles love to talk about this whole performative, you gotta do these journal rituals and do all these things. And those are fine, but not if you're not deeply integrating what you're actually performing, right? And so as we moved out of the wooden snake, which is all about, and as we know, we've done this a lot with making fires on a backyard, is that you cannot make a fire without wood. Okay? You cannot. So as we're moving to the fire horse, you have to remember that. And a lot of people will say, oh, yeah, if we went from the snake to fire horse. You kind of have to say you have to go from wooden snake to the fire horse, right? You can't just go from nothing snake to suddenly the word fire horse. It's not a fire horse. It's just a horse, right? We have the five elements, whether it's metal horse, fire horse, wooden horse, water horse. We're experiencing the fire horse this season. That means that this past year we experienced a wooden snake. That means that the wood itself has to shed to fire and fuel the fire of this year. That means that if you guys did not do enough shedding of last year, guess what? You're going to go through those deep layers this year, and it's going to burn while it's on you, right? That means that the energy of movement, if you haven't grounded and rooted that last year deeply into the being of who you are, the fire will not be an externalization of the fire. It will be an internalization of your
Wow.
fire burning up from within because you didn't shed that wooden layer outside of yourself to put on the ground so that it can now burn up. It's going to burn up within you. And I think this is what everyone's really scared about because both in astrology, we've had the eclipse in Aquarius on top of a new moon, full moon, plus Neptune and Saturn entered Aries. And we talked about it when it happened. It's only all of us were running into accidents, small accidents, but it was just telling us that like these accidents are happening because we're just not paying attention to this fire energy that's coming up with us. And so this fire horse energy, it's moving really fast, but it requires you to actually have shed a lot of your personality traits that no longer works for you. And that was last year, right? So if anything that is still on you that you're still holding on to and the fire horse kicks in, that fire is going to stop burning you. It's not going to burn the wood that you dropped off of you, right? And so it's very important that we see when you guys start to reference Chinese or Asian resources and philosophy, please take into context what you're trying to say. A lot of times I see a lot of influencers just talking about fire horse, but no one talks about the wooden snake of last year. So this fire horse is actually out of context once you start throwing the word fire horse. If anything, you should just call it the year of the horse and leave it at that. So that last year was the year of the snake, and you would just focus on the traits of the horse and the snake. But because you guys are looking to add the element of fire, which is very much in line with the elements that we talk about in astrology, just to give us an idea that this year is going to be a very fiery one for us to experience.
And the annular eclipse as well.
Yeah.
There's a
Ring
lot
of Fire eclipse.
Come on, there's a lot of cosmic energy and planetary alignment at play. And just to keep into consideration, every single day, our universe and atmosphere is being bombarded by millions of particles, asteroids, and there's been solar flares last 10 days. A friend of mine was telling me there were solar flares every single day. So it's important, if it's raining fire, you're fully equipped. I mean, spiritually, you're praying for yourself before you leave the house. You're giving gratitude, thanks. You're being a good human. Really, I could say many things. Be a good human. It's easy enough, and we can all do that. But that's how you can get through and alchemize some of this more difficult energy. Because when something is on fire, what? People want to run, scream, jump, hide. But if you're grounded fire is where it's at.
Drop, roll, right? That's what I learned in California.
Yeah.
You drop and you roll when you
Come
get
on.
fire on you, right?
Burn, baby, burn. Disco Inferno.
And the deeper truth about this too is a lot of people will be like, "Oh, how come we weren't warned of this time?" I'm sorry, you've been warned for 10 years. Yo, you guys, the Aquarian age, revelations of the Bible, many of our prophecies talks about this year, not last year, this year one of the revelation. The word apocalypse actually stands for revelation of things that have been hidden. So the apocalypse that movies in Hollywood likes to portray is the Mad Max end all be all of our future. I don't believe that we're running into that world. If anything, I think we're running into a different problem where we are already in the apocalypse where things have changed, but we're not experiencing the mass devastation that there is no city life, no buildings. Like, we're not going to go through that kind of experience. We're really going to experience like the depth of structure, but there are literally still structures up and about. And that's going to feel very weird. I'd say not Mad Max, closer to like Escape from LA or Escape from New York.
Well, the gag is there's no movies about that.
Right.
They want to teach total destruction, so that's what we look for. So Doom's preppers look wild. Meanwhile, Doom's preppers are living their best life, I'm sure, now.
Yeah.
And they, whether it was prophecy, insight, intuition, however they came to be, to gather, hunt, they were ahead of their time. But it's interesting. I've only seen true Armageddon and end times and apocalypse in that destruction. I had no idea and realized the layer of that is what has already happened.
Exactly. Well, I think it's not just what already happened, it's the cause and effect of what has happened, right? And so we're now experiencing the effects that has been going on and has been left untreated. And I think that's why it's
Left
so bad.
untreated
It's been
symptoms
left
is
untreated
disease.
for so long. Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, because um, these conversations we're having in podcasting, these didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen overnight. And suddenly it went from the doula mother woman being there for the mother who's having
Yeah.
a child, and so you have a room full of a woman,
A room
a
full of
room
women
full of
and
women
womb.
in childbirthing, and then within I don't know less than a generation or two, suddenly a whole bunch of dudes in a room waiting for this woman to child labor. Like,
How did it flip?
how did it flip?
Matriarchy.
And I don't think that it happened overnight. I think it was a generational problem that we what I say is we generationally erased our history, right? I talk about this all the time. The European Americans today, right? I don't call them all white Americans, but many of them are, right? Melanated, less skin toned Americans. They're Europeans, Nordic Europeans, and they're the ones who forgot their native heritage. I call them the Druids, the Wiccans, the pagans, had all the knowledge that today's Chinese medicine, Ayurveda hold. I think they all understood this knowledge of the elements, the alchemy of the elements. And today now our history is being erased from us, and we're living in this upside down world. And it's taken many years and it's still going on today. But what we're saying is it's been left untreated. Okay. It's been left untreated for so long that now we're getting to this weird political situations where we're now debating whether or not we are men or women, if men can have children. It's really ridiculous. If you guys think of any of these situations, they all require medical interventions. It makes no sense that a man can say, I want to have a child without medical intervention. That means it's not natural. That means that if medicine is getting involved in childbearing, it's really silly because it wasn't a place for the men to show up. It was a place for the women to show up, right? And so today, if you don't have the majority of women showing up in the childbearing place, you were not living in natural flow. And so what's happening now is the biggest topic of the conversation. And I think we have been prepping this podcast for a long time until really today when the entire conspiracy would finally be opened up for the whole public to see. And it's no longer a conspiracy theory, but it's a conspiracy fact that many of our institution has been doing these terrible, terrible things to us, and it's been left untreated because the men have stopped protecting us and disappeared.
Wow.
The women are no longer nurturing each other and talking about it, right? And so you have both male and female arguing over what they should be doing together, right? And so when they argue, you, the father, male, messed up. No, you, the woman, mother, messed up. And so now both sides are arguing over how to treat the child. And the child's like, I'm still here. I don't know why you guys are fighting. I'm still alive today, but you guys are fighting over who should be taking care of me. So today, no parent takes care of their child. They're being taken care of by CPS, by the government, and by your elite people. And that's why we're going to talk about something very important today, which is, the Epstein file. Nobody wants to talk about the Epstein file, right? Let me move this up a little bit to make it a little bit. There we go.
Nice.
You got to be a little
Top
nice.
secret.
And this discussion about the Epstein file, is such a big deal. It is a conspiracy against humanity itself, right? and please don't read these unless you have the stomach to read any of these documents. Definitely get it from second or third hands, people you trust that are doing the work. I have chosen not to do the work of reading these documents because I do not want the imagery of these documents in my mind.
Respect.
But yo, this stuff has been going on since the 60s, in the 1960s. Okay, we're at 2025. That's at least 80 years. That's a whole generation of our parents choosing to forget about us and then having all of these children of the 80s. And that's why milk cartons became really popular with children's face on it because of these were the missing children of the 80s. They went missing. And the problem didn't just disappear after the 80s and 90s and the 2000s. It's been going on since even last year. Or I think it's 350,000 or 250,000 children disappeared last year.
Wow.
In America, United States of America. You call us a first world country. Ironically, we have the most amount of children being stolen from this country, right? So whether or not we're really facing this for the first time, or just still, if you guys still really believe that this is a theory, please leave. Please leave. We do not have time to be dealing with people who have some doubts that unfortunately many adults in our planet have been treating our most innocent children with such bad behaviors.
Wow.
And it's been going on for a long time. And this is why literally we left our own medical practices, still in some medical practices, but we have chosen to be outside of the medical practice to give you all medicines from our ancestors, from our DNA back to you, because the people who are teaching you anything, Rockefeller, Rothschild medicine, and Rothschild, Rockefeller education, they have not been helping mankind. And that's why we are in a situation where we all have to. This is not, I'm not talking about the Epstein file because I'm hoping I'm like the newest person talking about it. All of us who believe in children and care about children should be talking about this, because this is unfortunately not, it's a majority of humans on this planet are actually perpetrators of these Epstein files.
Wow.
And Epstein is just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot bigger problem of, what's happening to our children, what's happening to our children being born, what's happening to our children body parts, what's happening to, because these children become us. That means that we were already infected when we were growing up, right? So we're the adults today who realize we were infected by some kind of city disease,
Speak on it.
communal disease, and then we're like, wait a minute, I don't have to agree
Ryan
that this
Underground.
disease is my identity, right?
Gas leak, all of that.
Gaslighting. Let's seriously have a conversation. If we want to talk about children and protecting children, we should be talking about rape, okay?
Wait. Let's just pause here. Let's pause here because this is it. If y'all miss this and rush past this, it's over. Breathe here.
Yeah. The biggest problem that we have today is the fact that, and I don't want to even say adults, everyone is raping someone or children.
Wow.
And that,
It's it.
it's hard to say that I'm part of this world when you have so
It's
many
hard.
people who hide the fact that they abuse sexually everyone. I don't even have to say adults anymore. I
So
say just
unnecessary.
everyone.
It's
Yeah,
disgusting.
It's
It's
disgusting.
despicable.
And so, this is the war of principalities. This is the spiritual war we have all been
Warfare.
talking about.
Yes.
This is like, if you think this is a physical war, you're 3 steps behind the devil, the dark ones, because they play in your mind, they play in your heart, so that the acts you take physically are already theirs to control, right? That means that you haven't been in charge of your own thoughts and minds since the day you were born. That is why we make such a big deal to protect a life being that comes through the womb of the mother, because as soon as they come in, they're bombarded, propagandized by this Illuminati cabal that's been running the planet for at least 100 years, y'all. Like, this is a big deal. A lot of us have talked about fluoride in water and how that actually calcifies our glands, specifically the pineal gland of our intuitive center. Do you guys know where that came from? Where that study came from? That study was tested on Jews during the Nazi internment camps. Wow. So we are living a really, really messed up life based on scientific experiments done to downgrade humanity. So when we watch Idiocracy as a comedy back in the days, today's it's a documentary and prophecy of our current realization that most humans don't really have any aptitude to support the entire race itself. It just cares about its own
selfhood,
sustaining, right? And because of that, we're all running around by ourselves, thinking that we're all on the planet by ourselves, living on our own. We're not. We're one race on this entire planet, trying to figure it out. We're one human race, right? And that is why this conversation of these files and of subsequent releases, indictments of institutions, groups, and elites who have perpetuated conspiracies against humanity will become known facts, right? And so we're not here to kind of like pull that conspiracy rope with everybody. No, we're actually trying to get past the conspiracy and say, fine, the conspiracy happened. Accept it. Know that these are happening.
Right.
But now what are we, not as men and women, but as fathers and mothers of this planet, how are we going to step up and now raise ourselves correctly? Because we all grew up with the same cabalist, death-worshipping ball fuckers have been teaching us, teaching us. They told me to make fun of Asian culture, so by the time I'm an adult, I hate my culture.
Wow.
You know, how many of you have felt that you hate your culture because of some kind of scientific studies that told you that your culture sucked?
Wow.
Right? And that to me is the conspiracy of cultural divine intelligence. I think we as a human race have been left here to evolve on our own devices, and we've had many fucked up kids growing up here as well with us, and they cause a lot of problems. And so today, you know, some of us were bullied growing up, and guess what? We didn't do anything against the bullies. We just got smarter and got better. But those bullies that probably bullied us are today's politicians, are today's CEOs in companies, are the ones who are pushing those margin profits really high up, but then they double, triple the price for HR because they hate people. And that's the companies you guys work for. That's the companies we all try to get paid to make sure that you can pay your bills every week.
Thank you for all the work that you do. Because the real job is that you care enough to compile yourself, be upstanding, meditate with this information, and then share it. It's hard to do, Charlie, because it's hard to stomach. Because it's like we grow up as children, we think, oh, you're an adult, awesome, you got it figured out. Become an adult, you're like, everyone just by the hem of their pants. So the most important thing I can take from it, because sitting with this information, it's unsettling. It's what is next for this world? If this has been going on for so long, if we've been all condoning it or being bystanders, and the truth is coming out, where do we go from here? So for me, I feel like it's reinfusing culture. I'd say it's a homecoming, wherever your home country is, go. I also would say using music as an activation, as an act of rebellion, because music is beautiful. It's a pathway. It fills the space. If you don't have an energetic hygiene practice, if that's a salt bath or some meditation, sound bowls, Palo Santo sage, you should. And I think it's making abstinence cool again. It's sitting with our elders, it's interviewing nuns, monks, and really just sitting with ourselves in this life. I feel like why there's so much rape, molestation, incest, nonsense is because people are bored and activated. You can be bored. In the Bible it says, idle hands is the devil's workshop. Be bored, but breathe. I feel like everyone's trying to rush past themselves while you feel like you have any autonomy outside of yourself on someone else's body and then to impose your will on them. It's just outrageous and sinful. Like if there's ever sin, like I would say that would be it. But for me, I think the grief is so heavy and so intense and so insane. In this already changing world, the best thing I can do is creating experiences or carving out for my peace of mind, because if you don't return to nature or have a good understanding of your healing journey, or you did have a traumatic childhood, all of this can be very triggering and just spiral you. And what I've discovered in my journey is it's called being a victim turned. It was done to you, you hate it, whether it's Stockholm syndrome or something like Munchausen syndrome. The point is, you have to take back your own autonomy. And once you do that, you can see, is my sexual energy between me and God, or is it going between me and out? And then this also leads to energy leaks. This is all, you guys are bored. You're, maybe you feel, these rapists, maybe you feel insecure, maybe you were bullied, and maybe you feel like you can't get any. You have no right to taint, to take away the innocence of a child or someone younger than you in a weaker position just because you can. And I think that's the ultimate thing. I'm trying to get back to deep self-regulation, and in that, it's just, you rapist pedophiles, you're too fast for yourself. Calm down, slow down, stay, like, put it on ice, go cold plunge. I have many, build a fence. You don't have to do that with your hands and your body, I promise. It will be okay. That's my piece.
Yeah. Before we move on to like solutions to this really ongoing problem that's been going on for a few years, I wanna go back to talking through the process of discernment. I think before moving on to how do we get past this really dark secret that's coming up for everybody to integrate, I want us to not go move into the healing part of this first. I want us to actually sit in why it has gone on for so long, and why did this fester and become the cancer that it is today. Because this is a parallel to even medicine, right? Most allopathic medicine and treatments are because they're chronic problems. Acute problems, allopathic medicine is great at it. You break your leg, you're like doing some crazy sports, you break your leg. Guess what? You go into surgery, your leg comes back up, right? That's great. How many of us are in this emergency medicine case, right? Most of us are more on the chronic case where we've not been eating correctly or been exercising correctly, so we have these chronic problems. But no one talks about the chronic problem of rape. No one talks about the chronic problem of child kidnappings.
But it's impulse.
Yes, but
right?
it's deeper than impulse.
Addiction to impulse.
Well, if more than like 50% of your population is raping, it's not an impulse.
It's just a lifestyle. It's a habit. What are you saying?
No, it's become a trained
Trait.
ritual.
It's a ritual.
Um, I I can't say I know what's happening in the mind of these rapists, but there's most likely a place of power that's happening,
Okay.
and there's a place of pleasure that is disconnected from another's pleasure, basically personal pleasure, right?
Okay.
Oftentimes rape is a personal pleasure. It's not a dual mutual pleasure,
Right.
right? Because one person believes they can trick the other person into feeling this pleasure while they're abusing them, right?
Wow.
It's a very common trope that happens in sexual fetishes. I'm a man. I've experienced women who have been raped, and so I find that their sexual fetishes tend to border on the trauma they experience,
Harm.
the harm they experience.
Yeah.
So most women, men who enjoy being tied up, most likely were tied up during rape. So the pleasure and pain centers become linked,
Fused.
fused, and now that dopamine receptor is the same thing. Pleasure and pain is the same thing, right? So then you have the masochist, sadist groups,
Right.
and that takes pleasure and pain to a whole new level because they rewire their brain to connect to those triggers. So going deeper, though, fine, there's sexual trauma involved there, but again, what's the discernment that made both mothers and fathers, and then doctors, and then teachers, and then every other child protector to become apathetic,
Apathetic.
apathetic to a child screaming?
Right.
Like, a few years ago, and this was all the conspiracy that was going on with giant ship containers being left out on the oceans, and those ship containers couldn't port into cities during COVID.
didn't hear
So
that.
there's a
Wow.
few things that's happened.
Wow.
And then there was a few moments where people who were working on the container rigs stopped working for a whole week. They went on strike because they said they could hear children yelling from their containers.
What?
Yeah. So,
In 2020?
like in the last 5 years.
Oh my God.
So
I didn't know this.
Yeah. So in the last
Wow.
5 to 10 years,
Dang.
the child trafficking has gotten so public yet so censored that the reason we called it a conspiracy is because what people were 100% yelling from the top of their hearts that things were happening, and nobody on TV would believe them. It's the biggest gaslight. It's like you swear you saw someone kill your father or your mother, and everyone on the TV says, the news says you killed them. And you sit there saying, no, I saw someone kill my parents, but everyone thinks I killed them. It's the same thing that happens with a lot of these rape. I find this a lot of times when usually it's a parent. When the father does something to the child, the mother protects the father, not the child.
Right.
Says, oh no, your father did not do that
Do
to
that to you.
Yet suddenly the child's like, now I have both parents against me. And then that child will then leave the family and then will choose to possibly go into sexual promiscuity. And then after that, everything that happens to that child, adult now, could you blame them as adults or blame them as children, right?
Right.
I mean, fentanyl and probably drug overdose on the streets are probably, a lot of them are these rape victims that didn't have any support.
Any support.
Any support.
That's what
Zero
that looks
support.
like.
Yeah.
When you're down and out by yourself, it just, you didn't have help, and help is essential.
Exactly.
Because we are literally born in an organ, in a human living body. A host is the mother, and we cannot live without it. Sometimes premature babies don't make it. So with that being such, the only way in is with you. It's around your life. You must have community, support, family. The ones that don't, unfortunately, get cast aside. But they're not the problem. It's the people that brought them here should take responsibility at least.
Do you know what the scientific study is for why we as mammals consider us to need to take care of mammals take care of our children, not as much as reptiles do, right? So you've seen reptiles bearing children, eggs?
It's eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know the turtles, you throw a whole bunch of turtle eggs on the beach.
Yeah, then they walk
and then
to
just,
the water.
but not a parent is in sight when the baby's born, right?
Okay, yeah.
That means that baby is now, as soon as they're born, no, they're not just orphan. You are born in the world of die or live, right in the moment that they have to die. So they're born with tools to help them survive. One of those tools is make a million baby. If 30% of them die, you still have 70% eggs to survive that attack. The other evolutionary push is the baby's born ready to go. So turtle eggs do not have to be taken care of by their mothers. They're just ready to go, avoid those seagulls eating them. As soon as they get into the ocean, boom, they're on their own.
Sure.
Right?
But the egg still comes from the mother.
So when a child is born just like a kangaroo.
Like a kangaroo, yeah.
Beyond its ability to cope with the world. It has no ability to cope with the world.
Right.
It's born, we consider it premature in the scope of reptiles, because reptiles are born ready to go.
Yeah.
We're not born ready to go. We're born needing our parents so that we can connect to our parents deeper.
Yeah.
Reptiles will never see their parents.
Yeah.
Right? So their conversation of their situation, well, you survived your birth, so you're a strong reptile. To mammals, if you survived birth and you grew up, you're a strong mammal because of your parents. That means that in scientific terms, mammals, humans, require their connection to their parents for the first 7 years. Because it is until the first 7 years that children do not have possibly the ability to protect themselves.
Right.
That means that we should have had the child be gestated for 7 years before we let them out the womb to protect themselves, right?
Wow.
So the reason why we bring them out of the womb so early on and all they can do is suck on a nipple and sleep is because they're creating a emotional connection with the parents. That is why mammals have strong connection with the parents.
Wow.
So with that said, why we talk about the environment of child labor is because the day you are born is the day you're getting all your advantages and disadvantages for life.
Same day.
Same day. So if right away we're going, hey, let's spank that kid in the first chakra, root chakra, while it's upside down crying. Or let's have it in a white room, right? White room, white lights, and blind the kid to death when they wake up. Do you know what that's called, by the way? MK Ultra uses white rooms, loud noise to traumatize a child out of their consciousness.
Wow.
One day we will talk about all the conspiracies and all the science that have looked behind it, but you should be excited that conspiracies actually tell us how divine we are. The problem is the conspiracy being attacking ourselves, us, and because of that we are living in the pattern of idiocracy. But if we were to actually give ourselves advantages and be able to pass on the genetic advantages of our ancestors, we would be coming in at an advantage.
Are y'all catching this? I hope y'all are taking notes. Oh, yeah, I hope so.
So this is why we say that medicine from our hands, from the village's hand, is what makes superhero humans, right? So idiocracy today has dumbed down the human mind, while many of us who saw and felt the energy of the Epstein problem, we walked away from the entire overall institution. So many of us were called outliers. We're called eccentric people, hippies, those who don't conform, unconformist. And we were usually thrown out into the outlier communities. And those outlier communities, ironically, ended up always being the most artistic, musically inclined beings that they pushed out of the community, right? hip hop became this thing for the black community, and all these forms of music and art. Yet now today, you throw a banana with duct tape on it, and you call that art, right? So even art, they have attacked because they don't want you to have the ability to strive for greatness.
Yes.
So
Let me be
meritocracy
great.
dies when you don't let children
Be great.
strive for greatness.
It's striving.
It's
It's striving, but then to arrive.
Yeah,
Jill
and that's what we
Scott
were
has a
known in
song
this
like
country.
that.
So this country, it's funny. People are like, "Oh, make America great again." Was a time during the time where we were racist and we have slaves? It's like, no, y'all, you guys don't know your history.
It's the war on
After
art.
the war, and we released all the slaves, America, right before the 1920s of the Great Depression, before the Federal Reserve. I know you have many layers of conspiracies here. America was doing so well because every single person here had their own business. It was their own entrepreneur. That was when America was so amazing because everybody was doing their own business, had their own business. They weren't paying a ton of taxes from the W-2 taxes, right? We were probably paying taxes through corporations, but we personally were not paying taxes. So our business was thriving. We weren't working for the man. We were a happy group of people. We had one income, and the mother was at home to take care of the child, the whole family. We barely needed school. School was like an afterthought.
After.
That was when America was great. We were the greatest economy on the planet. And then the stock market crashed.
20.
But the stock market crash didn't come overnight.
No.
You could see it. Loans were pulled out. A ton of money was given to more people who didn't have the money to even
repay
handle that. All these businesses were giving money, but what was happening
The
is
dopamine switch.
Yeah.
So I was like, roaring 20s.
we knew it as a roaring 20.
Roaring.
The roaring 20s, we had so much disposable income that there were no poor people here.
Great Depression.
The Great Depression was massive. So really what happened during the Roaring 20s was that right before the Roaring 20s happened, 1910, so Roaring 20s are 120s, right? But as building up to it, 1910, 1912, the Federal Reserve was built, 1912. Right after Titanic blew up. Conspiracy that Chase Bank brought all these millionaires who did not want a centralized bank to go onto this fake Titanic ship that sunk, okay? Killed everybody who was against the Federal Reserve. And then a year and a half, 2 years later, they created a Federal Reserve, then gave all of these companies a ton of money. And those companies, we see it today, when companies get that first round of investment, they don't spend it on any of the product. They spend it all on hiring people, boozing it up, having parties, and then losing their first round of funding. So during the Roaring 20s, I'm pretty sure they were doing that. Free money. In America, there's no such thing. Free in America.
And earlier ancestors, we were partying. The Great
Yeah,
Gatsby.
the Great
cetera,
Gatsby.
et cetera.
Exactly. So the Great Gatsby made us believe in materialism. Everybody started to get all these
Overwork.
extra. Well, no, it was more like extra money means extra businesses. But then all those extra businesses were being backed up by the stock market.
Yeah.
The stock market that was linked to loans. So the Federal Reserve gave all of us more money than we could handle, told us no interest, just have fun with this money, you don't have to pay it back. And then they crashed the entire system because they inflate the money because it's their money.
Yeah.
And we are in inflation, so we all recognize inflation. And then within a matter of years, all of the entrepreneurs who had businesses have to shut down.
Yeah.
These corporations buy their businesses penny to the dollar. And now we don't have our own private pharmacists. We have Walgreens everywhere.
Right.
We don't have our private grocery and farmers market. We have Tom Thumb, Randall's, Ralph's, Vaughn's, right? And then we don't have private doctors. We have hospitals. We have groups of doctors now coming together.
But a hospital is merely a building with many boxes of white walls and rooms, Charlie.
Right, right. And so
Why
like
would someone say that that is the center of healing?
so you probably don't even remember the days of, did you know that there was a heliocentric hospital?
What?
And do you know what the medicine was? Number one medicine was
Breath.
sun.
Sun.
Heliocentric.
Oh, okay.
Helio is sun.
Sun.
Heliac.
Latin root.
Helium.
Mhm.
Helios. Sun.
Helios, yeah.
So heliopathy was the giving sunlight as medicine,
Makes sense.
right? So people were literally just put on the bed on the sunlight for hours
Makes sense.
as their medicine.
Yeah, it's not sunburn cooking. It's getting vitamin D and all of your cells activating. I love sunbathing. That's some of my medicine.
Yeah, so a lot of this then disappears. Then we are introduced to the Rockefeller
Chemtrails.
medicine.
Man.
Chemtrails came afterwards.
For sure, I'm just saying, if you try to destroy what is in the atmosphere and sun, what are we doing?
Yeah. So once they got through with medicine and people, then they're like, hey, let's move to food. So food was industrialized, bringing all these chemicals into the food products. And then eventually they're like, hey, we should be getting more food, but there's not a lot of sun here. So what can we do to make the sun better? Oh, we can change the weather.
Weather, exactly.
And so most of us are now living in a conspiracy-laden world of weather manipulation and child trafficking and medical procedures that are killing us. And today we're like, wow, how come all these industries are single-handedly killing America, you know, from the bottom up, right? From the grounds up. And so this Epstein file, he's been around for a few decades. Supposedly the first thing was back in 2000, 2010, 2008, when people were starting to out Epstein for the stuff he was doing. And so a lot of people have been coming out with like, and Epstein was not the main push. They were really trying to tell people that there was a lot of conspiracy against technology. And that includes medical technology. And so today we're like wondering where our like genetic beds are. We're wondering where our our flying cars are, right? Because we grew up in the 80s technology aspirations, and yet today, no flying cars, no magic medicine, none of that. So
full-fledged, como se dice, COVID-19 was a pandemic. Like,
yes.
That's where the technology then comes.
Right, exactly. The technology came in ways of like, we're going to help everybody by creating a vaccine that can eradicate everything that we
technology
created.
War. But I just wanted to say this really quickly before we move from war. I always love the book and revere and have read parts, not in completion, but The Art of War and strategy and planning. But yes, and it's the war on art. That's why we even go to war. So it's interesting that I only saw art in war as a form and strategy, when really we wouldn't be fighting if everyone was doing art and like going for it from their own heart. Yes, it sounds like a big kumbaya, but when idle hands get weapons, war breaks out. That's what it is.
Yeah, it goes back to resources.
Resources, sure.
Or
Making
the
sure everyone's
illusion of resources.
Shelter, water.
This is called Thanos theory. Avengers proved or showed it to people. Thanos believes that we don't have enough resources on the planet or on the universe. So if you delete half of the people on the universe, you leave
more resources.
more resources, right? Those people who say stuff like that aren't farmers. Those who say
Not
shit like that.
Not everyone's a farmer.
Because most of those people who say stuff like that are product developers, consumers.
You're a
So
consumer.
Thanos is a pretty much mass consumer.
Yeah.
And he thinks I will overconsume what we as humans can create. So why don't I just get rid of half of the people so that I have resources for myself?
Because that's selfish. Because we didn't come here for our own
Exactly.
self. Because we came for everyone.
And I like to kind of, I know this is not going to be an opinion people want to relate to, but if any of you have worked blue collar jobs and have worked in physical labor, you guys know that your management class don't have any skills.
Right.
They're the ones that keep pushing people to work harder, work harder. They're the Thanos. They're the one that's saying we're running out of resources, y'all. That's because my boss above me said we have no more resources. So let's go and tell these workers that
Scarcity.
Go work harder, or you guys aren't getting food.
Paid. Right.
Or you guys aren't getting paid. Ironic, I'm like, but we're the ones who built all of it. We don't need you managers. That's what I call Bug's life. Right? The crickets do not want to tell us. The elites do not want to tell us. Do you know that most of the food in this country is grown for elites, and what we get to eat is scientifically grown food? Right?
Yeah. I felt that deeply when a hurricane came and we got like a box of food from the government. Just, I forget what you call them. Do you know what you call them? Like
MREs.
Yeah. Just tastes like metallic, chemical.
Just made like army dudes made it so that you could survive
and that's great. But why is the army eating this?
Yeah.
Like like please help us. But yeah. So anyways,
industrialization came out of supporting
the
armies.
army, of course.
Yeah.
And that only makes sense. But I thought this is so inhumane. No one should be eating this.
Right.
And I was 9.
Yeah. And it makes no sense that like we have a lot of land.
So much land.
So much land. Right?
This land is your land.
Exactly.
This land is my land.
And so you know, I don't want to go into so the answer to all this is going to be multiple episodes. It's not going to be 20 minutes at the end of our show where we're going to talk about different solutions for all these problems. However, like this tells us that we have to all of us, any of us who believes strongly that they have now been part of making Epstein files real. How many of you guys protected children?
Ooh.
How many of you guys say, no, I will not take my child to school.
Ooh.
I will not send my child to this institution.
How many parents listen to the pain, struggle, traumatic story of their child and believe them the first time?
Ooh.
That's why y'all can't sit at the family cookout. You didn't believe them the first time. It's deep-seated hurt, mistrust, betrayal. Because that's one layer. Protect children. If you're in a parking lot, don't just gas it. Like, if you're in a neighborhood, there's children. But right after that, you said babies emotionally bond for the first 7 years. Why is the emotional bond from child to parent during that time? Like, you don't know what you're saying about, kid. I didn't teach you about your body parts. You don't know the stranger danger parts that could be inflicted as pain or harm or selfhood and protection. But when you tell me something hard, I'm going to disbelieve it. Like, that is why we're here.
Yeah. I think that we've really simplified the dangerous things in our life and make the simple things more complicated in our life. I think education should have been the simplest thing to do.
Simple.
Kids love learning.
Love it.
If any of you guys have kids, you guys know that. What are you doing? Can I do that? I want to try that. I want to do that, right? It's so beautiful. They just can't help but want to do everything you want to do at like 6, 7 years old.
Wow.
And then they turn
6, 7.
18 years old and they hate learning. They hate school. They hate being around anything that teaches anything.
Oh my gosh.
But they love being around their friends who put on makeup, their friends who want to go buy stupid shit, go to the mall to just hang out. And that's fine. Nothing against that. But, they hate learning.
Yeah. and then go into college.
And then go into college because they have to, because
Too.
they have to get money, but
Well,
they hate college.
But because their parents are forcing them. It's just this wild.
Like, how many of you actually went to college and actually paid for classes that weren't part of your curriculum? How many of you did that? Yeah, probably not many of you. As an engineer, I took dance classes, I took art classes. I made sure I was not an engineer. Why? Because you guys aren't breeding engineers. You guys are breeding human beings. Okay? Education, you are making humans. Stop it with making them jobs.
Oh.
You're not a doctor. You're not an engineer. You're a human with those skills. Right? And that is, to me, what education does. It really trains the minds of really divine beings to be robots. So when today you're like, oh, why are we creating robots? Because you guys don't know how to raise children. We don't know how to raise children. So what are we going to do? We're going to raise robots because we can program the shit out of those robots, tell them to shut the fuck up and deal with their shit because we don't want to deal with our own kids who are teaching us about our own souls to grow up in our own lifetime so that the next lifetime you have the lessons of your children. No, you're going to come back for another stupid life because you didn't listen to your children that are connected to your genetics.
Wow. How quick do I know the mothers that say daycare, away, school, with the quickness. At least I'm in a better school district. Yes, but you're pushing away your greatest lesson of the day, of the year, of your lifetime.
Yeah.
I know it only also because, 1, I'm not a mother. 2, I'm an aunt. And 3, I teach children for the last 2 years art in elementary schools. So I work hand in hand with a room full of children ready, the greatest teachers ready to give it to their parents. By the time they get to their parents, not that they're no good, they're tired. They've had all this energetic exhaust by warring and going at it with kids and teachers, that parents give and get the worst to their children, not on purpose. They've worked all day, they're tired. Children have exhausted their brain trying to learn something, get home tired, and hopefully it's a peaceful night and dinner. But if not, that's where the conflict happens, because they're both going separate places, learning things that are advantageous, making money, and hopefully learning in an educational sense. But it's not what they need. They need to be together. Bring your children to work day, and children teach your parents. I see it so clearly.
Yeah. This is what also happens when suddenly the memes were really funny about this. We're like, no one prepares you for mommy, mom, and bruh. Right? And that's what happened to a lot of moms. Suddenly they're like, mommy, mommy, mom. Hey, bruh, can I get that? Bruh. Can you give me some sandwiches, bruh? Right? And the mom was like, where the hell did you learn how to talk to me like that? School, Rockefeller education.
Yikes.
Do not send your kids away from you if you don't want them to talk to you. There's a reason why kids don't talk to adults today. It's because education separated them. You believe that your kids were kids when they were not your age. So today, when they haven't changed the age difference between you and them, you still treat them like a kid. That means that they're going to act like kids. That's why today we have no adults and we have only kids, Lord of the Flies, running around because they're getting paid too much money to do anything that is right for us as humans. So we do what's right for our money, for our wallets. So this is why, in the end of the day, when people are like, how do I change things, Charlie? I'm like, stop spending money, attention to the things you don't believe in. And that's probably the hardest thing parents and adults have to do today.
Because it's so easy to give a kid a screen, because guess what? You're self-medicating by looking at a screen. It just goes like that, goose gander. So kids aren't saying, hey, mommy, what are you doing? How are you doing your hair? How are you gardening? They're like, oh, scrolling? I got that. What's after that? Just nothing? It's that.
How many
Go in
parents have
nature.
patience to teach their kids anything, and
Oh,
half of the time
man.
we're like, no, just get on YouTube.
Growing up, I went to a private school and then a public school. But my friends' parents at my private school, prestigious. I mean, man, the backgrounds, the jobs of these parents. But they were just so ready to drop their kids off in this room to say, like, higher education, this is what it looks like. But I never felt any of my friends' parents from that time were natural teachers or could give value, although they were in very high stake positions in their life, financial advisors. I mean, but it's just so interesting. Well, I don't, maybe it starts with children because it's like, why are there so many adults that achieve high success and then send their children away to learn something when the best way for your child to learn for your legacy, for maybe passing down business, is for them to be with you?
Check this out. I'm a doctor, right? But I don't talk to my mom, and I don't enjoy talking to my mom. Why? Because she didn't raise me during high school. I was raised by high school, and I was raised by America.
Ah,
So today, as an Asian American, well, yeah, Asians have a great relationship with parents, yeah, but they didn't raise me. I was raised by this country, not by my family. So how many families are raised by their country, not by their family? So when you complain that your kids are acting all like bruh, sorry, but obviously you didn't teach them how to say bruh. The school did. So the conversation is, who's raising your kids?
bruh.
Bruh, your society, or you should be teaching your kids? Who's got the genetic disposition to learn from you? Stranger kids or your kids,
If
right?
you're not ready to be a teacher, don't become a parent.
Yes.
And if you're not a parent, you are also a teacher. No one gets out alive. We're here together. We must work together and come together.
Yeah.
Anything that separates us is not the natural flow.
And the deeper problem is, if you think that anybody else's child is not your child, you should be leaving the planet right now. Okay, y'all? Like, when you think about it today, if you complain about, how many of us want to complain about shitty politicians that don't care about us? Yeah. How many of us want to ask their parents how they raise those politicians? And so in the end of the day, when you kind of go, oh, I hate these people, were they the bullies you ignored and you didn't want to deal with? So the conversation is, love and light doesn't work, because love and light just puts you in a corner until darkness shows up and bullies the shit out of you.
And there's no more love and light.
So love and light requires you to carry weapons, y'all. Love and light requires you to take down someone that wants to take you out.
Take you out. Rose, thorn.
Right. And I'm not
there.
saying kill them. I know plenty of ways to disarm someone so that they're still breathing and I can still treat them as patients afterwards.
Bong, biggity bounce. Shake my hand, Dr. Charlie. Listen. This man's saying the truth, and if you know him, you know he's on.
So really, before we get too caught up, but there's a lot more we'll really dive into in these files. I think we need to. I think we should really be breaking down the propaganda of our country and our city, because some of us are raised by the city and then some of us are looking to be raised by humans again. And so, I chose to leave the city. I chose to leave 9 to 5 and corporations because I want to be raised by humans. And so I only listen to humans. If there's any kind of like, this group of people tells you to do that, I'd be like, who are these people? Who's telling me what to do? Are they paying you to tell me to do this?
Right.
And if they are, I won't listen to you. I'm sorry. But unless you've tried it yourself, zero credit towards what you mean. Right?
How about this? New Year's resolution. Ask yourself that every time before you make a decision.
Yes.
You're either feeding a wolf that's starving or feeding a fed wolf. Where are you spending your time, energy, your financial energy, and your selfhood energy?
Yes. And so this coming season, we're really excited to take off the gloves. No more kitty gloves. I think it's time for us to address difficult situation that have put all of us in this precarious positions of having to remember things that our ancestors taught us, having to really look at science today and to tell science that they do not have the answers is exciting. But obviously, we have to do our own grounded work to make sure that we're logically speaking and not speaking from an irrational, emotional point of view. And so,
Reactive.
reactive, exactly. We want to respond. We don't want to react because every 4 years we react and then we keep bringing the same people that we don't want. So stop reacting, start responding.
Yeah.
Give yourself time to discern what is happening to you, not because everybody is doing it, you should be doing it too. I think that's a very important position for us to look at our stories, look at where we're at, and consider having different ways of addressing our problems and our challenges.
Beautiful. So something I'm learning in somatic release and embodiment is shaking out this energy. This was a pretty heavy episode for us all, but I appreciate that we're going in through it. So I'm just going to have a small dance break at the end here. But thank you so much for your time and your wisdom, Charlie. It's an honor to be here and just see how this can unfold so we can be better.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
Go, 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 go.
I thank you,
Wow,
everyone.
thank
Until
you
next
so much.
time.
Amor.
Until next time, everyone.
care.
Bye.